Welcome to The Next Level, presented by FedEx, alongside Craig Burley, Alain Moreno, Frank Leboeuf. I'm Sebastian Salazar. Great to have you with us. We got a few topics to churn through, but let's start with goal scores, because that's really, at the end of the day, all that matters. In a comparison between two of the very best in the business, Erling Haaland and Karim Benzema. No doubt, Ale, they're very valuable, each one respectively, to their team. If you had to pick who's more valuable to their squad?
I actually don't have any doubt in this question. I can envision a scenario by which Manchester City can be successful without Erling Haaland. In fact, we have seen Manchester City be successful without the presence of a striker. I cannot envision any scenario whatsoever that Real Madrid is successful without Karim Benzema. He is their most important player. He makes this team go in the attacking half. He gives them a focal point. He gives them a reference point, a guy that can play off the front line, that can provide the final touch, that can look to combine, that can score the important goal for you. If you're Carlo Ancelotti, you know full well that the first name on the list every time that you put that lineup together is Karim Benzema.
If you had to pick between the two, how would you do it?
In what sense?
Well, who would you have on your team? You had to pick between the two.
Why do you give me the tough question? I mean,
Well, it was easy for Ale. It was easy for
because I agree on that sense. That,
right, more valuable, right.
More valuable because City have got so many other options. Not that Real Madrid don't, but they've not got as many goal scorers. And if I can circumnavigate my way around this for a while, maybe I'll forget. Look, who would I have? Just because I'm getting so much longevity out of him and his age and his strength and his power, I'm having Erling Haaland because he's the man of the moment. But, I mean, you're making me leave Karim Benzema, one of the greatest strikers of all time, out of my pick. So it's a difficult one, but I'm just Haaland's such a powerhouse at the moment.
It was difficult for Craig. It was easy for Ale. What about you, Frank?
It's difficult because you are comparing two fantastic players in different matters. Manchester City scored more than 120 goals, I think, since the beginning of the season. And Haaland scored a third of it. So it says a lot about his importance. But he's not crucial and influential in the way Manchester City is playing. Where, and that's why I go with Ali, Karim Benzema is the playmaker. He knows how to become a number 10, a 9.5, and a top scorer. And the last three games that he played for Real Madrid, almost, he scored so many goals. And again, tonight against Chelsea, he scored a goal, and we can see that he's a threat every time he plays. And he knows, because of his intelligence, his technique, his tactical vision of the game, that he can be a threat all the time. So it's why I would go for Karim Benzema without ignoring the talent of Haaland.
Tough to pick between the two.
You're asking two different questions.
I know. That's how we get.
I'll have people shouting at me.
Haaland scored against Bayern Munich. You know who else scored? Rodri.
Okay.
A golazo. This is such an important position, like that center defensive midfield position. Obviously, we don't expect goals from Rodri, but just how key is he to Manchester City?
Well, huge, because, you know, prior to that, they had Fernandinho, who was one of the best. Then the two of them shared it for a while, and now it's Rodri in there. There's nobody really else at the club does that job. Gundogan can sit a little bit deeper. But the role that he plays, I mean, don't forget he played centre-back for Spain at the World Cup. So he's so versatile. He covers the full-backs, covers the centre-halves, gets forward. As we saw, he's added, you know, that ability to score a goal in his game. But more importantly, he fits into the way City plays because he's never frightened to make himself available to get on the ball. And he's very, very tidy in his ball retention, which is so important to the way Manchester City play.
How about that goal?
Well, I think even Rodri was surprised by the goal. You know, when he cut to the inside, he was looking for options to lay the ball off. And Bayern Munich were concerned about Erling Haaland, and so therefore they dropped off Rodri. I love Pedri so much, I wanted to be part of this conversation. They dropped off Rodri. And it's almost as if he said, well, I suppose I got to take this shot on now. And once you see the technique that he starts it outside of the post and he curves around somewhere and into the back of the goal, you have to ask the question, why don't you do this more often? because it could be an element of the game for Manchester City that potentially could be very important. A lot of teams drop off Manchester City, right? Because of all that possession. They get all this possession in and around the 18-yard box. And on top of the 18-yard box, if Rodri is actually a threat to hit a shot from distance, would actually force teams to come out. And now you can find the pass to lay it up. But he has been excellent for everything that Manchester City does.
Frank, we know that this position is one where Pep Guardiola has tinkered in the past. I guess there's no taking Rodri, though, out of this City team, is there?
No, that's crazy. You know, don't forget that Manchester City lost the Champions League final because Rodri didn't play, because it was a tactical option from Guardiola, and it was his huge and main mistake of that game, and it's why they lost, because it says a lot about the influence that the guy has in the middle of the park, and the importance of him being in the middle of the park, you know, because of his technique, because of his possibility of doing everything that the team needs. You know, the goal that he scored, even some lefties wouldn't curve that ball so nicely. So, and he's a right-footed. So the guy is complete. Is everything that you need when you have a player in that position, because he can score goals on top of what Guardiola was capable of doing when he was playing for Barcelona.
All right, let's focus on the other side of the bracket. That's where we find the three Italian teams. AC Milan 1-0 winners over Napoli. Inter Milan 2-0 winners over Benfica in their respective first legs. Of the three Italian teams, Ale, right now, who do you think has the best shot at going to the final?
I still think it's Napoli. I think Napoli is still the best Italian team remaining in this competition. But it is critical that they have Victor Osimhen available in the attack. It changes the personality of this group in the attacking half. It gives them something different. They have to defend a little bit better in transition than they did today against AC Milan. But regardless, in terms of who I think is the best team from this Italian group, I'm going to say Napoli. And it's no coincidence given the fact that they are destroying Serie A right now and should be able to get past Milan in the second leg.
What do you think, Craig?
I think at 1-0 down, they've got still a very good chance being at home to go through. I think if we want an exciting open final, whether it be City or Madrid from the other side of the draw, I think if we want an exciting final, we've got to hope it's Napoli. Milan fans and Inter fans will be shouting, but who cares? If Milan are in to get to the final, they will only play one way. It will be a boring, sitting deep, getting out of possessed sort of final. If we want an exciting final, Napoli are the best team in Italy. They get on the front foot. They'll look to play. So you better pray that Napoli gets this job done.
All right. Thank you very much, Frank, Craig, Ale. Always a pleasure to be with you. That is The Next Level, presented by FedEx.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.